Hello and welcome to the Rusted Brush. Today, I wanted to do a different kind of video than I normally do. I'm going to be going over my top 10 favorite GW publications. These are like novels, just lore books, army books, anything really. Anything that GW basically published, like Black Library or not, basically. And yeah, I'll just be going through the from my least favorite of the 10 to, my favorite, number one, of course. But yeah, I thought about doing this video for a while, and I've been doing all these voting for what videos should be coming out, and I just decided, you know what, I really want to do this video, I should be doing something I want to do, right? And I guess this is like also for like the 2K subscribers that I got, this is kind of like a special kind of video for that. I do have a bunch of videos that are going to be coming out soon, but editing and getting everything together takes time, so I thought I should do this in the meantime. So starting off with my top 10, number 10 is actually two books, but they kind of go hand in hand together. This is the Imperial Munitorum Manual and the Imperial Infantryman's Uplifting Primer. I really like these books. They're really cool. There's a couple of different editions that have come out over the years, but these are the original, I believe, and these are really cool. I love these like books that Warhammer came out with, like kind of like this one, for example, is very much like a field manual, or like a kind of like something you would find in the real world of like 40K, and like what a guardman would kind of carry, and like it shows you things like this. Like, if you ever seen like a real like infantry handbook, it feels like this. And this is just so cool and very immersive. Yeah, and yeah, it's a really cool book. It talks about like things like loss of limbs, medical treatment, that kind of stuff. And it really brings you into the world of 40K and what it's like to be a guardsman. So yeah, these books are like really, really cool. So I definitely wanted to include them. And I thought it would be better to put them as, one category instead of separating them, because they're both basically the same thing. They're both about just stuff for a guardsman, how things work, that kind of thing. Yeah, so I think these are a great addition. Number 9 is an interesting one. It's in this canvas sack, and this is a very rare book as far as I know. Now, I got this from a friend of mine, and we did a trade, and he didn't want this anymore, so he gave it to me. And it comes with this cool burlap, canvas that was covered in. And it is the Vile and Loathsome Ratman book. It's for fantasy. This was a book basically telling you everything about Skaven. And as you can see here, this is copy 65 from a limited edition of 300, which is really, really low. Now, they did make another 2 versions of this, I believe, but none of them are as nice as this. It's got like this nice, like almost like rat skin texture to it, and it's got like a rat tail. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so this one's really hard to come by, and this just talks about like basically the Skaven, how like their kind of formation happened, their attributes, and that kind of thing, and just like warpstone and that kind of thing. It's got really unique art that I haven't seen in other publications too, which is really cool. So yeah, this is a really cool book to go through, especially if, like, you don't even have to be like a Warhammer Fantasy tabletop player. If you play the RPG, this is a great book to have as well. Yeah, no, I really like this book. This one is a simpler book, but actually one that is like kind of near and dear to my heart, because this is a big part of like growing up with Games Workshop, was like getting books like this for learning how to paint Citadel miniatures, like it says. And this just goes over a lot of techniques. Some of these techniques are a little basic, I would say, but also still apply today. Like most of the techniques and stuff that it talks about still are very relevant today. And I wish GW made modern versions of these books. Obviously, you can go online or like, read blogs and stuff on how to do a lot of these things, or like watch videos, but there is something about having a book to go through as well and learning things that way that I find important. And yeah, it's just a really cool book. Like, it talks about dry brushing, color theory, highlighting, layering, glazes, like it covers a lot. And yeah, I think it's a really cool book. I think it's important. And it was very helpful when I was growing up, books like this. So this is why I put it here, just at number, number 8, because it's important. And just like, it's a fun read as well, in my opinion. I like just reading how to paint stuff as well. I find that sometimes a bit more helpful than like going online, looking at YouTube tutorials for these kind of things. But say the V, to each their own, right? Now, number 7 should come as no surprise if you've watched my uniforms and, heraldry of the Empire that I paint up. This book is pretty much the inspiration why I did that YouTube series, and still doing, by the way. We're not finished. But this is basically a book telling you the different provinces and like how their uniforms look, and also some of like the unique regiments that those provinces or city-states have. So it's really cool, and I like it how it shows like very different kind of heraldry for each of them, and like a lot of different examples of the same uniform and like different color combinations with those colors. So it's really cool and tells you a bit about each province as well, which is cool. And it's just been a very useful book as well. Obviously, I'm very inspired by this book. And this was a big influence on just like making stuff. And like it even has like the Moot, Marienburg, Solent, and Sylvania. So it has like some of the uniquer, sorry, not unique, more like niche, I would say, like city-states or provinces as well. And it even has all the knightly orders as well. So that's really cool. And yeah, just a really cool book to have. And I said cool there like probably like 5 times, but yeah. Yeah, on to the next one. So this book is called Blood on the Reich. This one I think is a bit more unique, and I don't think a lot of people have actually know about this book. This one's cool. It's basically the journal from someone going through the whole empire and some other places in the old world, essentially. And it's just a lot of like sketches and drawings of people he's met, and it talks about like the different occupations that he sees and different kind of like people there are and different kind of cultures even amongst the city states and whatnot and provinces of the empire. So it's a really cool book, great inspiration for a lot more grim dark looking empire people as well, I would say. And yeah, it's just a really interesting read too, and it has like these unique characters that John Blanche drew as well and painted, so that's really cool. And yeah, it's really cool. It doesn't only talk about the Empire, it goes into other places in the old world. It talks about Arabians and nomads, some border princes, but orcs and goblins as well. So yeah, it's an interesting read. Next one we have is The Realm of Chaos, Slaves to Darkness. This is a pretty well-known book, I would say, and this is basically about the Chaos Gods, of course, but it has supplemental rules that you can use for a lot of different things. It tells you the stats of, like, all the different kind of demons there are, and just, like, how the system works for using Warriors of Chaos and stuff for different things, getting powers and marks and stuff, and it has a lot of, like, rewards here. Like, you can see, and you roll on them to see what you get. And this was meant to be used for old fantasy, the role-playing game, and for 40k as well, if I believe. I believe it was for 40k as well. It's got really cool artwork, a lot of Ian Miller stuff, which is really cool to see. And yeah, this is just a classic, I think, book that a lot of Warhammer players like to have in their collection. It's just really cool, and you get to see like the different like marks of chaos really come out here. And I love these models here. These bloodletters are some of my favorite for sure. Yeah, so it's a really cool book if you can get your hands on it. It is kind of expensive, but super worth it if you can get them. Next up is the Imperial Armor book. This one's volume 5. It doesn't really matter. I'm just counting any of the Siege of Rax or any of the Badab War stuff from Forge World, essentially. These books are really, really cool in my opinion. I love the illustrations in these, and I love the layout. This like feels like a history like textbook or something for like studying, and I love like the way that if you can see it, like how they like photographed these. It made them feel very real and very immersive too. I really love this book in specific. And yeah, these are fun reads, but also it just tells you about logistics and everything about like the different vehicles and infantry and like the heretics as well on their side as well. It's really cool. And it of course has also just the rules for like the quad launcher and anything that came out. This is I believe this is when Death Korps of Krieg were just coming out as well from Forge World. So yeah, it's really neat. Yeah. And number 3, we have the Warhammer General Compendium. This is such a cool book. This I love, and I wish they do more books like this. But essentially, this contained a lot of rules from different White Dwarfs, and they put it into one book for you to use stuff for kind of making your own kind of scenarios, but not only in making your own, but using their own scenarios. Talks about how to make like like terrain as well a bit for specific scenarios that they made in here. It has like campaigns for maps. It talks about naval combat and a lot of stuff. Like it's really really cool. And this is such a useful book if you're looking to make your own kind of campaign or scenario kind of thing. This is great inspiration for that kind of thing. Highly highly recommend this book. Even if you just get it as a PDF, if you're looking to have like randomness or just have more unique games that are less tournament or competitive based, even though it does have rules for competitive gaming as well, but more for just like fun events or narrative events or specific scenarios you want to try. This has a lot of useful stuff. And I've been using this for my own campaign in Lustria. I've been using this a lot to help with that. Now, number 2 may come out as a bit of a surprise for some people, but it's White Dwarfs and Warhammer Visions. I put them together because they're kind of work hand in hand. If you don't know what Warhammer Visions was, essentially at some point they separated White Dwarfs, made them smaller, and made a painting showcase out of Warhammer Visions. I don't think a lot of people liked it, but I actually really really liked a lot of the Warhammer Vision stuff. Like they showed off so many cool armies and stuff. And like the painting and stuff was very inspirational for me at the time as well. And just seeing a lot more just like painted models and converted models, a lot more than you would see in a normal White Dwarf issue at the time anyways. It's just so cool. And the other thing that this had was Blanchitsu. And that was a huge influence on my painting style and the Grimdark style in general, I think, for a lot of people. Let me just see if we can... Here we go. Yeah, this was basically either John Blanche or some people that he knew, and they would have these unique Grimdark style models that were heavily kit-bashed and whatnot. And like, this seems a lot more common now, but for me, this was a huge... I never heard of people doing things like this, and this was a big deal for me. And yeah, I just like how I painted stuff, for sure. It's just so cool. And I really enjoyed almost every issue of Warhammer Visions that came out. I had to collect them all. And it just showed off like cool, just painted models as well. And of course, White Dwarfs. I loved White Dwarfs. I have a huge collection of them, and I picked one of my favorite issues here just to show off a bit. But I thought about doing a separate video just talking about different White Dwarfs that I really enjoyed. There's certain years and periods of White Dwarfs that I don't really care for. Like, I think the last White Dwarf I have is from like 2018. Anything like 2016 to now, I really don't care for anymore, really. It's the older stuff that was a lot cooler and a lot more enjoyable. Like, here, let's take a look. So, these old editions, they had showed you like custom scenarios and even had like unique army stuff. Like this was about zombie pirates, and this is why this was one of my favorites. It showed you how to convert and like gave you ideas of how to play like zombie pirates. It was so cool. And Dan from We Wargame, we talked about a bit about this, but one of our favorite kits from Games Workshop was this kit that came with zombie bits and Empire Militia bits. It's so cool. And yeah, it's very unique. I just like these old White Dwarfs, going back and reading about stuff and just like how they make terrain, and they pushed for a lot of converting. That was a big deal, and how to make like terrain as well. And it was just so inspiring. Like, especially as a kid, I saw these and I was like, man, I really want to do this and that. Of course, like as a kid, I didn't really do any of this, but like yeah, as I grew older though, especially now, I've been using these as source material for making my own terrain, making just unique models and stuff. And these were just a lot of fun. Yeah, and it's just like, sometimes it's just fun to read these back in the day and go back in history, basically. And by far, this is my absolute favorite GW publication that I have. If you want to count it as a publication, I guess you would count it. It's a big GW book, basically. This is the catalog and hobby reference from 2004 to 2005. As you can see, this is thick. It is massive. And yeah, the pages are a bit ruined on my copy. This has had a lot of love, let's say. But this is so cool. This is a great resource to find like old minis as well, if you're into that, just for collecting. it shows you a lot of cool painted models and even like conversions as well. It shows you like unique gaming tables even. It's got a lot going on. It's a hefty book to read, of course, though. And there are some like online catalogs as well, but I found this just way easier to go through than going through some of the online catalogs I found, to be honest. But like, this has everything. Like, look, you can see all the different like metal chapter shoulder pads, sorry, and stuff like that. It even shows you the older ranges before like 2004 and 5, like these Lost and Damned here, for example. It covers 40k, it covers fantasy, and it covers like their more niche games like Inquisitor, Mordheim, Blood Bowl. All of that is in here as well, which is so cool. And the fact that they show off like conversions and painted armies and stuff, and like how to collect them and stuff. And it also gives you like numbers like this, and these were numbers you could use on the catalog to basically decide if you wanted a bit. You'd have to put that number in, essentially, I believe, which was so cool that you could order just specific bits. And yeah, you have a list of prices here, as you can see, for everything. Like, such a cool concept from back in the day. Like, I wish I could just get like certain bits. And like, it's also just useful for me as a collector of certain miniatures to like see what their names are. Sometimes you see a mini and you're like, how do I find this? And this is such a useful resource for this. And like, it's got the Inquisitor stuff here too, like you can see here, which is cool. Mordheim. Yeah, it's got a ton of stuff. This is just such a cool book. And I absolutely, as you can kind of tell by the quality of it kind of falling apart and some of the pages are falling out, I've read this a lot of times. I love going through this. Yeah, this was like my favorite era of Games Workshop was around this period, was 2004 and 5, just because of the unique conversions and just how everything looked, honestly. Not to say that I don't like the new edition, or not new edition, like the new era of GW. I have some problems with it, but there's still some really nice models still. This is just like, obviously there's a nostalgia bit for it as well for liking this older edition, but I don't know, it's just like so cool to see. And I think it's seeing everybody's conversions that are, you know, showcased in this and a catalog as well. Such a cool book. But yeah, that's it for this video. Just kind of a shorter video, I suppose. And I just wanted to talk about some of my favorite Games Workshop books out there, and some that I think you should try and get if you can. Yeah, well, thanks for 2K subscribers, by the way. That's a big milestone for me, and the fact that it monetized is also a big deal. I wasn't expecting it to happen anytime soon, and it kind of blew up, so I'm pretty happy about that. But anyways, thanks guys for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.